when we come back, we can hopefully go over. Salah is very long. If you go over Tahara and you start off with Salah, then by next year Ramadan you'd have done Siyam, then that way you'd have done all the ibadat, inshallah. Right, Bismillah. Let's go. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We carry on with Kitab al-Hajj. We had left off where we had taken the mawaqit, we had taken ihram, and we spoke about how when a person enters Makkah, then the first thing they do, they make tawaf. So if they're making umrah only, they'll make tawaf and they'll make sa'i. We already spoke about going between Safa and Marwa. Then they will shave their heads. Also, if they are doing Hajj only, then when they reach Makkah, they do what's called tawaf al-qudum. So tawaf for basically coming to Makkah. And this is sunnah, this tawaf. Okay, so we've taken a person doing tawaf, and we've taken a person doing sa'i, which is going between Safa and Marwa. And then I'm sure we had stopped at when a person is now waiting. Okay, either they've made umrah a little bit before the days of Hajj. So a person who's doing tamattu', they've come out of ihram, they've made their umrah, and they're out of ihram, and they're waiting for the 8th. Or we're speaking about the person who just reaches, for example, on the 7th of Dhul Hijjah, and then they in ihram, they've made their tawaf al-qudum, and for the 8th they're going to Mina. Okay, I'm sure that's where we stopped. Correct me if I'm wrong. Am I right? You guys don't remember?
I have written in my notes that tawaf is for the umrah and sunnah in Hajj.
No, you've got it wrong. We're talking about tawaf al-qudum, not tawaf as a whole. Tawaf al-qudum is when you're coming to Makkah, okay? So it's sunnah, right? Then we carry on. Now we're getting to the days of Hajj. So whatever a person may be, let's say they've made umrah, they've stayed in Makkah, now they want to make ihram and get into Hajj, okay? Type of umrah. Or wherever they've coming from, they've only come with the intention of Hajj, okay? Performing Hajj. They've made their tawaf, and if they did their sa'i, they've made their sa'i. They've gone between Safa and Marwa. They're in ihram or they're wearing ihram. What do? They then wait for the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. On the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, it's called Yawm al-Tarwiyah. The word Tarwiyah comes from the day of rest, okay? So a person goes to Mina. Now what you've got to remember is in Hajj, similar to Salah, there are things which are pillars. So there are those acts of worship which are pillars. Your Hajj will not be accepted if you do not do them. There are those things which are wajib in the sense that also compulsory, but if you miss it, there's a way to compensate for it. And then there's those things which are mustahab or sunnah, which are highly recommended, but a person is not does not have to compensate if they miss it. So I give you an example in Salah. If a person misses one sajda, okay, say when making Salah in the first rak'ah, they only make one sajda, they don't make two. They've missed a rukn of Salah. They've missed a pillar of Salah. They have to go back and make it up. They can't make sajda to sahu. Is not enough to cover that mistake because it's a pillar of Salah, similar to your house. The house doesn't have a pillar, it will fall down, okay? So that's an example of a pillar. Then there's that which is wajib, which is compulsory. However, if you miss it by mistake, then you can compensate with sajda to sahu. So for example, the first tashahhud, let's say a person is reading 4 rak'at of Salah, and after 2 he forgets to sit in between, okay? So from the second rak'ah he stands straight to the third, he doesn't sit. So that tashahhud is not a pillar of Salah. So in case he forgets it, he carries on with his Salah, then his sajda to sahu can compensate that mistake. And there's those things which are sunnah. So for example, reading Subhana Rabbi al-Azim more than 3 times, or reading, as some scholars say, even Subhana Rabbi al-Azim 3 times. They say that absolute bare minimum is 1. Okay, it's an opinion. So if a person read Subhana Rabbi al-Azim thrice or 4 times or 5 times, that's all extra. But more than that or less than that, if a person does, he's not required to make sajda to sahu and he's not sinful. So similarly, when it comes to Hajj, there are certain things which are pillars of Hajj. You can't miss these things. if you've missed them, there's no Hajj. And there's certain things that are connected to a time frame, like the day of Arafah. If you miss that stopping in Arafah, finished. It's no more Hajj. Then we'll take it what a person has to do in Fawat al-Ihsar. Okay, so this on the 8th day. Remember, when you're talking about Hajj, it starts on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. A person goes to Mina. What's the 8th of Dhul Hijjah also called? Yawm al-Tarwiyah. Tarwiyah is a word referring to rest, i.e., person is preparing, person is going out and getting used to the fact that he'll be in Ihram. He's resting for the big day, which is the day of Arafah. Okay, and that's why in some of these books, the fiqh books, it says if it's the 8th day, okay, then the people go to Mina and the Imam. So generally, when they're referring to the Imam in these types of masail, they're referring to the ruler or the leader, because in those days, the leader or the ruler who used to rule the government or rule the kingdom, or the president or whoever they may be, they also used to lead the salah. Okay, so that they say the Imam then advises the people with regards to what they'll be doing in Hajj. Some of the masail when it comes to Hajj, what's required of them, and he gives them a mu'idha, what's required of them in Mina, etc. Okay, so this is the 8th day. I don't know if my whiteboard is working, so you'll be able to, it'll be easier for you. Yeah. That's in my board. Right, look here. So right now, this is the 1st of Dhul Hijjah, okay? 1st all the way to the 10th, okay? These days are considered the best days of the year, okay? Wal Fajr wa layalin ashr. Some says referring to these 10 days, okay? Now, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, up to the 7th here, okay? All blessed days, all days which a person is required to do ibadat, etc. What are we talking about? We're now talking about Hajj, someone who wants to go for Hajj. On the 8th day, it's recommended for him to go to Mina. So they read Fajr in Makkah. After Fajr, they depart, they leave Makkah. So let's say Makkah is somewhere here, and then they'll come out of Makkah and they'll go to somewhere here to Mina, okay? What do they do in Mina? They make their dhikr, they make their dua, they're preparing for the next day. What's the next day? The next day is the day of Arafah, the 9th, most important day, okay? And Hajj is Arafah. A person who misses passing through Arafah, spending a moment in Arafah even, his Hajj is not counted, okay? It's not counted as Hajj, and we'll take what he has to do. So this is the 8th day we've completed. Hajj is very simple. That's the day of Mina. Now the 9th day. So what will they do? The 8th day Fajr, they read in Makkah. Then they spent the day in Mina. They read the Fajr in Mina. After that, they start moving towards Arafah. Okay, so on this day here, they start moving towards Arafah. If a person is performing Hajj, some of the scholars mention that it's better for him not to fast, so that he has energy to make dua and carry out his acts of worship. Those who are not performing Hajj, it's sunnah or recommended for them to fast. There is an opinion that says that those who are making Hajj, if they are able to and they want to fast, they can. Okay, so this is the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, which is the day of Arafah. So wherever you are in the world, it's recommended for you to fast this day. And as for if you are in Hajj, you'll be going to Arafat. Okay, what do you do in Arafah? When you reach Arafah, what happens is once the time of Dhuhr enters, okay, so this we're talking about this day here, okay. Once the time of Dhuhr enters, let's say 12 o'clock, the Imam, and here notice how we refer, I told you the Imam here is referring to the ruler or whoever the ruler has put in charge, i.e. the main Imam, okay. He gives a khutbah, and this is sunnah. One of the sunnah, as in what was practiced upon by the Messenger and the Khulafa. He gives the khutbah of some of the masail regarding Hajj, informing the people what's required of them in Arafah, telling them about some of the mahdhurat of ihram, etc., also with regards to their own lives. You know, when we all hear about the farewell sermon of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was here when all the people were gathered in Arafah, and the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them a lot of things. And one of the things he told them, he says that you will be asked about me. So have I conveyed the message? And they said, yes, you've conveyed. And said, Allahumma shahad, oh Allah, bear witness that what they are saying, because I've conveyed the message. So this is on that day. Now in Arafah, you've got a mountain. The people call it Jabal Rahmah. Some of the older books of fiqh, they'll say that it's recommended for a person to get as close as he can to the mountain. However, wallahu alam, there's no virtue to climbing the mountain, being on the mountain, etc. As long as a person is in Arafah, anyway, his Hajj is counted. So what happens? Let's say Dhuhr is 12 o'clock. The Imam who's in charge of that big masjid or giving khutbah there gives khutbah. Thereafter, they read Dhuhr and Asr together. Okay? They read Dhuhr and Asr together, Jam'an, and they read 2 and 2. Okay? Why? One of the reasons is so that they have time here. They don't have to stop everything at the time of Asr to perform Asr, because why? The day of Arafah is a day of dua. So the minute their salah is done, then it's now a time for dua. And for any of you who's performing Hajj or who will go for Hajj, this is one of the most crucial, if not the most crucial day of your life you will witness, especially if you've gone for Hajj. And you'll find generally it will be hot. There'll be a lot of people. People will be fighting for all sorts of things in terms of food and space and air conditioning, tempers flare, etc. That's where the true test of your Hajj is. Don't be from those who go for Hajj not knowing the virtue of this day, and who go for Hajj sticking around with bad company around you who may be lazy, who may not want to carry out ibadah, because you've come all this way and you've literally come for this mainly. So they remain in Arafah up till sunset. Okay, let's say sunset is here. Once the sun sets, okay, those who have already stayed in Arafah, they then go to Muzdalifah. This is the 9th in the night, we would call it. Okay. Now, few masail to bear in mind. In the Hanafi madhab, according to the Imam, there's two opinions. According to Imam Abu Hanifa, he says that a person who is not performing salah with the Imam al-A'zam, with the main Imam, on that day, is not allowed to make Jam'ah. Okay, he can't combine his Dhuhr and his Asr. Okay, he must read them in 2 separate times. The others say no, he reads them in one time, and wallahu a'lam, it's practiced upon among a lot of Hanafis today. They make Dhuhr and Asr in the time of Dhuhr, and they carry on. After that, the person moves on here. Okay, so this is the 9th in the night. All the Hujjaj who are here, they go towards Muzdalifah, which is another place. Now, they're not required to perform, or they're not supposed to perform Maghrib and Isha until they reach Muzdalifah. So similar to Arafah, where they read Dhuhr and Asr together, here they will read Maghrib and Isha together when they reach Muzdalifah. So generally they reach at the time of Isha or so. They're not supposed to perform on the road. Now, I want to explain to you an important mas'ala. Let's say this is the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, okay? This is the 9th. Okay? And this is your timeline. This is noon, 12 noon. Okay? And this here is sunset, just for argument's sake, we'll say 6 p.m. Okay? And then this is the night here, okay? This is the night up till, let's say, Fajr, which is about 4 a.m. Now, as I told you, Arafah is like a pillar of Hajj. If you miss Arafah, so let's say a person misses the timing of Arafah, his Hajj is not counted. It's not counted that he went for Hajj. So now, as we know in the Islamic calendar, in all our days, the night comes before the day. That's why when you read Taraweeh, we count the Taraweeh comes before the fast. Why? Because the month of Ramadan entered just after Maghrib, after you saw the moon. So if the people, this is the normal time to wait in Arafah, from noon up to sunset. To make it easy for the people, in case a person misses this, so let's say they're coming from far, let's say there was traffic, let's say there was whatever there was, and they couldn't make it till the 6 o'clock, it's also permissible for them to stop in Arafah, even if it's for a moment, even if they're flying over Arafah. It's also permissible for them to stop in the night. So if a person hasn't done Arafah on the 9th during the day, Islamically, once the sun has set, the 10th day has started, but he can also come in the night and pass. That's why in the hadith of the Messenger, he informs him that a person who stops in Arafah, even if it's any part during the night, and that's one mas'ala you must remember, that here on the day of Arafah, you'll find the night is coming after the day. So a person who stops on this day, for example, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, after Isha, in Arafah, his Hajj is counted. It's as though he stopped in Arafah. That's an important masala I wanted to mention. Why? Because at times it may happen, an exception to the norm. Somebody never get there on time. He had a breakdown, especially those days when they were traveling by horses and donkeys, etc. Sometimes they didn't know the date. It can happen. So hence that's permissible. After that, so this is the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. After that, you move on to the 10th. We said that the people have gone to Muzdalifah. Okay. What do they do in Muzdalifah? Once they reach Muzdalifah, they read Maghrib and Isha together. Again, this mentioned with the Imam. However, when you go for Hajj, you'll find there's 1 million, 2 million people. It's extremely difficult to get everybody to be performing Salat one time there. They spend the night in Muzdalifah. Okay, so this is the 10th now. Okay, so the 9th in the night here, people are in Muzdalifah. Those who never go to Arafah can pass through Arafah and then go to Muzdalifah. They read their Maghrib and Isha here. And now, on the 10th, this is Fajr, okay? The sunrise, okay? Sunrise, this is the 10th. So let's say sunrise is 5 o'clock. Here it's recommended for them to read Fajr, okay? While it's still dark. And then they make dua and they move on to Mina. And inshallah, we'll stop there today. So what have you taken so far? You've taken days 1 to 7, extremely important, extremely virtuous. A person making a Hajj. Day 8, he goes to Mina, Yawm al-Tarwiyah. It's not compulsory. So if a person comes and he goes straight to Arafah, it's okay. Because up to Mina, he hasn't yet missed a rukn. When it comes to Arafah, that's the most important thing. When Arafah, we told you that whether he stops during the day or a portion of the night, it's okay. But here, if he comes during the daytime, then it's recommended, and in fact some say it's compulsory for him to stay all the way up to sunset. Okay, and after that sunset they go towards Muzdalifah. In Muzdalifah they perform their Maghrib and Isha together, spend the night, and then they read Fajr, and before the sun starts to rise they move towards Mina, which is the 10th day. If you're not making Hajj, the 10th of Dhul Hijjah will be Eid for you. And as for the Hujjaj, they have a lot of things to do on the 10th, and inshallah we'll take that tomorrow. For those who were coming a little bit late, we said this week we want to take the whole of Hajj. So inshallah, I can summarize it for you fully, and then at least before Hajj you would have taken Kitabul Hajj. Let me check. You had a question, Omar?
Yeah, Sheikh. On the day of Muzdalifah, which is actually the night of 10th,
Muzdalifah is,
according to
according to Islamic calendar. According to Islamic calendar, the night comes before the day. So literally after Maghrib, the 10th has already started. So Muzdalifah is not a day. Rather, Muzdalifah, if you're looking at it from the Islamic calendar, you're there on the 10th night. And if you're looking at it from our calendar, where we say that midnight is when it changes, you're still there on the 9th in the night. Okay.
Understood.
Understood? Alam Ghi?
يا شيخ at Muzdalifah, we go back
Yeah.
to Mina
Yeah, from Muzdalifah. So example here.
after
Let's say
Fajr.
here. Yeah. After Fajr, before the sunrise is recommended. So let's say this is Makkah. I'm just going to draw it like this, okay? Say this is Makkah. There's a Kaaba. So on the 8th, a person comes out here to Mina. Okay, we read Fajr here. He comes out to Mina. Then he spends his day in Mina, the 8th. Then 9th in the morning, he goes to another place called Arafah. Okay. And then on the 9th, after sunset, he goes to a place called Muzdalifah. Okay. And then he reads Maghrib and Isha in Muzdalifah, and Fajr he'll also read. And before the sun rises, he'll come back to Mina. How far are these places? They're not very far. I mean, if you walk from Arafah to Muzdalifah, depending on the traffic, you might take about an hour, 2 hours. But if you've got transport, use transport, and whoever is going for Hajj and able to use the train, find a package that has the train, use the train. Because if you use a bus or a taxi or whatever, it's prohibitively expensive, number one, unless you're with a group. And number two, you have a lot of traffic jams. I mean, a usual 20-minute ride can take you 5 hours. The subway, yeah, it's a metro. They've got a specific a metro. It's called for the Mashair. So it's going from Muzdalifah, Mina, Arafat. It's a green metro line. So there's some tour groups, tour packages who use the train. So if you're ever going for Hajj, pay for that and use the train. And inshallah, tomorrow we'll take the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. Any other questions?
If you mentioned that Arafah is a must of the Hajj. If you miss it, then
we'll
your
take
Hajj
it.
is not.
We'll take it. What a person should do. So it's called Fawat wal Ihsar. That's why, if you look now on the, I want you to watch on either YouTube or the Arab News, or it may be any news channel that's covering the Hajj. You find on the day of Arafah, the ambulances also go. So they'll take the Hujjaj either from Mina or Makkah, put them in the ambulance, even if someone's unconscious, and then they take them through Arafah. So they've passed through at least. Yes, correct. That is the most busiest in the world, used just for a few days. Correct. That is the metro. Any other questions? Hajj, you'll understand it more when you go there. And also, because Hajj is so long and so many days and so many different people, you always find so many different masail that come up. So many different masail. And generally, a lot of the ulama, especially of today, have taken an opinion of giving fatwa according to what's easier, especially in Hajj. So one of the opinions is right now, if you look at the map, you'll see Mina, for example, is what was considered Mina is here, okay? Now it can't hold enough people, so they started to expand the camps here. Some people argue that's not part of Mina. Others said that no, it's same like your lines in Salah. If your lines in Salah, the masjid is full and the lines are going outside, it's still counted as the same Jama'ah. So it's very full. There's people who go for Arafah, then they don't even live in Mina. And we'll take what's required in Mina, inshallah. What I want you to do for homework is Google or YouTube somebody who's gone through the Hajj. And especially if you get it from a more professional documentary style thing, so you can see, they'll put the maps for you, they'll show you all the distances, etc. Then you'll be able to understand. It's a pillar of Hajj. It's a pillar of Islam, which is Hajj. Any other question?
Yes,
Yeah.
Two questions. The main Hajj is in the last 3 days, 8th, 9th, and 10th, right? Then if I were to
No,
land in Makkah
no. Then
on
hold on.
7, then also
Hold
my
on.
Hajj is.
Hold on. You've still got. I never take this. I was just explaining to you for 1 to 10. You've still got 11th and the 12th, and whoever wants to stay for the 13th. But generally, you find that this is Mina, Arafah, and Muzdalifah. And then you've got Mina and Tawaf and cutting hair and cutting animals. And then here, this is all Mina pelting. Okay, even here is pelting. Here and here, 13th is voluntary. But we're still going to get to that. So those are your days of Hajj, okay? Just so you know. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and for those who want to stay, 13.
The pelting is after the slaughtering.
We'll take it. It's tomorrow. It's the 10th day. This week we're coming on this day. We haven't yet taken this day. So far, we've only taken. So far, what you're required to know is a person did Mina, and a person did Arafat, and he did Muzdalifah here in the night, and now he's going back to Mina after Fajr on the 10th. That's all you want to know for now. Actual Hajj starts on the 8th. Yes, if you want to complete all your manasik, starts on the 8th. And let's say a person wants to do tamattu'. So if they reach on the 8th, they quickly make Umrah, come out of the state of Ihram, they can just get a short haircut, and then they go to Mina straight away. Mina is recommended, but not compulsory. Main Hajj compulsory Hajj starts here. As for the Nusuk, they start here.
Okay, how much time does it take to complete the Umrah?
It just depends how many people will be there then.
Even
If in normal time, it can take you 40 minutes to make tawaf, and maybe about an hour doing Safa and Marwa, and 10-15 minutes to cut your hair, or maybe 2-3 hours. And in case it's full, give yourself 5 hours, 6 hours.
so in Umrah, there are basically 3 things. First, the Tawaf. Second, the Safa and Marwa.
Sorry, I can't hear you. What you say?
In Umrah, there are only 3 things. First is Tawaf. Second is Safa and Marwa. And the third is to chop off your head hairs.
Yeah, and the person must be in the state of Ihram. And then we'll take this again for Umrah, this Sunan. There's things which are recommended, there's things which are compulsory. And what we took in Ihram, a person, what they're not allowed to do, then later on they'll tell you, let's say a person broke those rules, what should they do? Can you give yourself a haircut for Umrah instead of a barber? Yes, you can. So in COVID, when all the barber shops were closed and they just opened Umrah, I remember we used to all cut our own hair. Just go with your machine and you cut. And if you want to shave your head, you shave also if you know how to shave.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
As we know, Hajj became compulsory after Allah instructed Ibrahim alayhi salam. When does the practice of Umrah came into existence?
Umrah, wallahu alam, recommended. Some say the hadith where it's compulsory, speaking about the pillars of Islam, saying Hajj is compulsory, they have an extra ziyada there, and they say Umrah also compulsory. But wallahu alam, Umrah is not compulsory, highly recommended. And it's from the Sunnah of the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, i.e. from his doing and his action. Shaving off is a sunnah, or cutting short. It's better to shave the head. Here we're talking about if a person is making Umrah only, or if a person is performing Hajj and on the 10th they want to shave, then they shave. But let's say a person is doing Tamattu', where he's making Umrah, let's say on the 7th, okay? He's making Umrah on the 7th. If he shaves his head, what hair is he going to have to cut here? Hence they say that let him shorten his hair here, then on the 10th he can shave. And it's mentioned in the hadith, the Messenger made dua 3 times for those who shaved and once for those who shortened. And that's why the ayah is, Allah starts off by mentioning those who shave and then those who shorten. مُحَلِّقِينَ رُؤُسَكُمْ وَمُقَصِّرِينَ لَا تَخَافُونَ. Any other question? Regarding Hajj and Umrah? No question? We will stop there, inshallah.